I learned a couple of things from my swatch, aside from my gauge, which is looking pretty good. One, can you tell what I learned about binding off here? This is the cast on edge. This is the bind off edge. Hey everyone, it's Natalie, also known as Nitty Natty. Welcome to episode 253 of the Love in Stitches podcast. I am still in Pennsylvania. I am still at the Little Wolf Knits house, but I am just in a different spot today. I have a couple of items, knitted items I want to tell you about before we get into the project. So first, I am wearing my color tip tee. I finished this in September of this year, and it's been a wonderful top. I wanted it to just be something simple that I could put on, every day. It could just kind of replace one of my t-shirts, and it has been that. I am still thinking about, I'm just wearing it with leggings today. I am still thinking about going back and adding more length to it. I actually already did that one time before I completely finished it, but I'm still feeling like the proportions are off somehow, like on my body type and shape, and I just need a little more length to be perfectly satisfied with it. All in all though, I love the pattern and I love how it came out, and I love this yarn. It's Farmer's Daughter Fibers Sue Copy. It's a single ply, I think Rambouillet, and it's amazing. The other thing I wanted to touch on was this lovely blanket, which was sitting in the background of one of my previous videos. And I had a couple people ask about the pattern. So I did not make this, Brianna made this, but this is the Cozy Comfort Throw by Homespun House. And this is Brianna's yarn. I believe it's one of her Schitt's Creek countdown calendars held with mohair. It's a really cozy blanket. I have this as one of my patterns to make, probably with the Schitt's Creek advent calendar that I got last year, maybe in the future at some point in time. This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or growing your brand, Squarespace makes it super easy to create a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place and on your own terms. I'll be sharing more about how I use Squarespace later on in this video. For now, let's get into the episode. I've got a nice pile of things to share with you today, and I am so excited about all of them because having been in one place again for a week, I've actually been able to make tons of progress. Actually, it's only been 5 days instead of my normal 7 days, 1 week since I recorded a podcast, just because we are starting to travel again. And this is the day that it made sense for me to record. So I could have gotten even more done, but I'm really happy with what I've done. So let's start out with a half finished object. I have finished these socks. These were my socks that I started in October for Halloween. I was not successful in finishing them in October. It's fine now. I've at least finished the first sock, and I did a fair amount this week. Most of this was done thanks to movies. I did a little bit at a movie theater, and then I did a little bit more last night while we were having kind of a double feature at home, and I'm really happy with that. So for these socks, I'm kind of testing out different things I want to have in a hiking sock. I'm hoping to release sort of a basic pattern that is good for hiking or activities, or just having socks that stay on your feet really well. Kind of incorporating just basic sock knowledge and my Perfect Fit Socks course in just various things. So I've played around with some longer ribbing, with some decreases, with a heel flap and gusset, of course. I took one of your suggestions to do a slip stitch, and I just did it on the bottom of the foot. And last week I learned that a lot of you, oh my gosh, camera. Whoa, that is not comfortable. I'm so sorry. One of you said, actually, I do the slip stitching all the way around the entire foot and not just on the bottom. So that's interesting. I've never done that before. I've never done this before either, but I've already learned some things from this sock that I want to do differently in my second sock. I'm not going to change everything, but there's just a couple things I want to try. Overall, I did not make the leg as long as I wanted it to, but I'm not going to change that up within one pair of socks. I'll do that for my next pair. I have some really yummy yarn that's a non-superwash that I want to use. Anyway, all in all, these are halfway done. And I cast on the second sock right away because I knew I would need to do that in order to keep on moving along. My plan for these right now is just to continue working on them when I'm doing my morning knitting and reading. So I have not much done, but a few rows of 2x2 ribbing. Continue working on them in the morning when I'm doing my reading. Of course, I'll take them out and about with me. These are my only really simple project right now and the only one small enough to be portable. We have a couple things coming up this week that will be perfect for. So hopefully I can make a lot more progress on these in the next week, and the second sock won't take an entire month like the first one did. Let's see if I can get this out without making the whole pile fall. I have made a lot of progress on my Salty Days sweater. I am still just loving this. So let's get her out. I am attached to 4 balls of yarn right now. I'll explain that in just a second. So this is the Salty Days sweater by Veronica Lindberg, and it's really fun. I am using a worsted weight. It's held with a mohair silk. Really pretty. I'm really loving working on this. So I finished the main body this last week, which I didn't have much to go. It was like just a couple of inches here. And then I started on the bottom ribbing. Pretty quickly, I got a little bit bored with that. I'm like, I want to try something else. So I'm doing pretty much the exact same thing, but on the neck. And I don't know what it is about starting the neck or starting the collar, but I feel like I'm finally working on a finished looking sweater. Just having in that collar looks so, so good. And most of the time in patterns, the collar or the button band or the finishing work is last. And most of the time that's for a good reason. You can't really do the button band until you have all your pieces assembled or the fronts and back finished, whatever. But this kind of a collar where everything around there is complete, I can do that basically at any time. A lot of times I'll do it once I get a little ways past the armhole, but because this pattern had so many different sections, I was entertained all the way through, and I wasn't like, okay, now I'm on the, what can be a little bit boring, the stockinette section. I wasn't doing that. That's when I normally jump up to here and then like go back and forth. But this time I wasn't having that feeling of like, okay, I need something new and exciting until I got to the bottom ribbing. So I have been working on the collar. I would have liked to be a little further on this. I have another day, full day here at my friend Brianna's house. And being at somebody's house has so many perks. Aside from just getting more knitting time in general, I also have access to water, which in the van, I don't have unlimited water. I have space to both wash and block things and space to leave it to dry, which I also don't have in the van. Ideal world. I would finish this collar. It gets folded down. That's why it's so long right now. It will get folded, not quite in half because I'm not done yet. I think I have 10 more rounds to do, but it'll be about that tall. Then I could block this whole thing. And my reason for doing that and blocking this halfway through the project is that I want to see how it's fitting. I haven't tried it on at all yet. I know I should have. Even just trying it on unblocked is really helpful in determining, do I need to keep going on the length of it? Do I like the way it's fitting? All of those things. The reason I want a really good block on this is because it's looking very skinny to me right now, proportion-wise. It's looking long and skinny, but it is a drop shoulder and there's huge sleeves. So I want to see how this like opens up, where it drops on the shoulder for me. That will help me knit better fitting sleeves as well. And then also just seeing where the length is at before I determine my final ribbing. So the pattern says to do maybe 3 inches, I think, of ribbing, and then you do a sewn bind off. I definitely do not want to do a sewn bind off until I'm very sure of the length, because I do not want to unpick or cut out a sewn bind off, especially one that's in mohair silk. So I'm hoping I can get this blocked before I leave here, because once we get into the van again in a couple of days, I'm definitely not going to be doing this. So the reason I'm attached to 4 balls of yarn is I've got 2 balls attached to the bottom and 2 attached to the top. Another motivating reason for me to finish this up before we get back in the van. I've made progress on one more project this week. I have a new project I want to cast on. I haven't cast it on yet, but I did successfully complete a swatch and block it and everything. So this is going to be for my Nordlig cardigan by Fiber Tales. And I started a swatch a couple of weeks ago, and then it just wasn't working out right. Actually, it's still right here. I started the swatch on the suggested needle size 7. That was looking a little big, so I switched to a size 6. I completed the swatch. This is in brioche, just standard brioche stitch. I measured before, I measured after, I blocked it, and it's looking good. I learned a couple of things from my swatch, aside from my gauge, which is looking pretty good. One, can you tell what I learned about binding off here? This is the cast on edge. This is the bind off edge. I don't know if I actually have a straight bind off edge from any of the brioche sections of this sweater. I don't think I do. I think they all go into a ribbing and then into some kind of a sewn bind off. But if I do have any straight bind off edges, actually I might, because this sweater has a really interesting construction. Either way, I know now that I'm gonna need to go up a needle size, maybe 2, in order to get enough, stretch in my bind off, and or just change the type of bind off I did. This one I did a knit 2 together through the back loop, slip the stitch over, knit 2 together through the back loop, slip the stitch over, which usually is pretty stretchy, but not stretchy enough for this. So swatches are not just for gauge. You can learn a lot from them, and that's something that I've learned from this. This yarn feels amazing. This is the Ruby and Roses non-superwash DK. It's called Rustic Rose. And she has this color open, I think, for just a little bit longer. This one's called Rosy Cheeks. So I am actually planning to cast this on today. It starts with the sleeve, really interesting. You start with the sleeve, you gotta do, so that means I won't be binding off at the sleeve with the ribbing. It'll be interesting. I'm excited to share this one, but you start with the sleeve, you work your way up, and then you start with the other sleeve and work your way up. I don't know, it's fascinating. I'll know more next week and I can share that with you, but I'm hoping to get this cast on today. And then in a week's time, we will be in Ohio at Yarnbirds at the Nest, and Addie of Ruby and Roses will be there with her trunk show. So I'm hoping I have at least a little something to show off by then. And then of course, I'll share it on the podcast next week as well. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's episode. Did you notice the new nittynatty.com homepage? I've been beefing it up ever since we started doing Yarny events about 6 months ago. Somehow I've never had a proper homepage on my Squarespace site, and as a small business owner, this is extremely important that I have somewhere to tell people to go to find all the different things that I do. With Squarespace, it's even easier than before to get started with your very own website. Design Intelligence is their brand new AI technology that can help you build a beautiful website tailored to your specific needs, from choosing your site's personality to selecting a color scheme. Basically, you can create an entire website without starting from scratch, so that way when people ask you, what do? You can send them to your gorgeous website. But Squarespace offers so much more than just web design. You can sell anything from patterns to yarn through Squarespace Commerce, or if you create knitting and crochet courses, you can set them up through the site. Squarespace also makes it easier than ever to take payments. Customers now have even more ways to pay with popular options like Klarna, ACH Direct Debit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, and ClearPay. If you're ready to give Squarespace a try yourself, head to squarespace.com/nittynatty. Use my code nittynatty to get 10% off your first website or domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's podcast. And now back to the video. I completely forgot to show you my yarn that I got in the mail this week, so just pretend I'm recording this on the very same day. So I got a preview box for Woolen Women fibers. They have their Woolen Women box every single month, and I have December's. So when you order it on their site, you see what's in it anyway. It's not really a secret, but if you don't want to see it, this is your time to skip ahead to the next segment. So here is what it looks like. The theme for this month is Baking with Mrs. Claus. It says, smell the sweet, fresh baked cookie smell in the air. You join Mrs. Claus in knitting and crocheting until the timer goes off and it's time to ice the gingerbread. This is a completely immersive box. You get yarn, you get accessories, and you get a couple of other things. They kind of vary from month to month, but they are all so sweet and so fun. They're so fun and so and perfect theme. So I'm excited for this one. The last one I got was a Halloween box. So I haven't gotten one in a little over a month. So let's start with the yarn because it is very pretty. And it is a sock set that's called Mrs. Claus's Bakery. Oh gosh. And so it's got this really pretty red and green and white, and then a nice green to go with it. Perfect for December. You also get the String of Lights pattern by Sock Witchery. Hold on, try to open it up. Here we go. And you get a download code too. So that will be really fun. If you get the crochet version this month, you get the same colors, but you get DK weight yarn, and this is the pattern that you're getting for December. Okay, let's look at the accessories. There is, oh my gosh, I haven't opened this up all the way yet. I just kind of peeked at it. This bag is adorable. Look at the buttons on it. So it's kind of like a taller, small project bag, which is very cool. And they make these as well. Woolen Women, look how tall that is. I wonder if you can like tuck. I don't know if it's exactly made to do that, but I think you could probably kind of make it more buckety. It has a lot of interfacing in here, so it's pretty stiff. That is so cute. And look, it's got all the baking stuff on it. I love that. And then we've got stitch markers from Sam's Tiny Trinkets. Actually, I want to show you these close up here. It looks like we have maybe a Mrs. Claus or just like a sweet, like kind of Christmassy woman, and then an oven mitt. Oh my gosh. These are so cute. A little oven mitt. I love that. And you can actually select your skin color too when you order. So you can get, a skin color to match you or whatever you want to do. They have this little hot chocolate mix in this tiny little coffee cup and a metal spoon with a gingerbread man on it. A tiny little metal spoon. Oh my gosh, how cute. That'd be really fun for making hot chocolate, mixing milk into your tea, what have you. Okay, 2 more things that come in the full box. There is a candle and there is a lanolin lotion. So this is where I have to look at my card to see what the flavors are. So the lanolin lotion bar is peppermint mocha. It has lanolin, shea butter, cocoa butter, mango butter. Oh, can't use this one. He's allergic to mango, and other essential oils. So it is called Gingerbread House. Let's see what it smells like. It smells really good. It kind of smells like sugar cookies. Let me see if I can get a little bit of that out. I woke up this morning with like really dry, like split lip, and all my skin is getting really dry. So that smells so good. And then the candle is, oh, I'm so sorry. The lotion bar is Gingerbread House. The candle is peppermint mocha. And it's a soy wax candle with different things in it. Let me see if I can get it open. Oh my gosh, shouldn't have done the lotion first. That took me an embarrassing amount of time. I don't know if you can tell if my face is red because I am now warm. But anyway, this smells really nice. It is soy wax candle, peppermint mocha, kind of subtle, I would say, kind of chocolatey and kind of minty, which makes perfect sense. I am excited to get back to my parents' house and we can actually burn candles again. We can burn candles in the van, I guess, but we're not usually still for long enough. And you don't really want to start driving in your car after you have burned a candle because then the wax is liquidy and it can slosh around. So we don't really get to use candles right now. So this box is going to ship in December. You can order it through November 23rd. It will close after November 23rd, and then they'll start sharing their January box. I will put the link for this down below. Thank you to Andrea and Sam for sending me this box. We are renaming this segment to highlights or life highlights because we're not doing much travel anymore for the next several months. We do have a few more places that we're going, but all in all, we're not really traveling anymore. Eventually, we're gonna get back to my parents' house. We're gonna stay with them for a while and figure out what the heck life is going to look like for us in the new year. This week, as I've said, we've been at my friend Brianna and Michael's house for the duration of the week, which has just been wonderful. Mostly we've just been doing like normal life things. I've been working at a desk. Love that. Getting lots and lots of planning done for the upcoming membership and Sockmas stuff. Anyway, we did have a couple of amazing highlights to this week. The first one is that we went to see the movie Wild Robots. It is in theaters, I think still. It's been out for a while. It's technically a children's movie. It's animated and it's very much a PG movie, maybe even a G movie, but it was so sweet. So if you haven't seen Wild Robots, you're looking for something to go see in the theaters, I would totally suggest it. Or when it comes into like home devices, I would definitely suggest watching it. Have some tissues nearby. It's really fantastic and perfect to watch with your kids. I knitted on my sock this week during that movie. I actually knitted too far. I had just gotten past where I did the slip stitches for the arch of the foot, and I didn't really know how long I needed to knit because I don't do heel flop and gusset very often, and I hadn't been marking my pattern with light bulb stitch markers like I usually do. So I was just kind of going as far as I could with my, what my hands would allow me to do during the movie. The next day when I picked it back up, I was like, okay, I've knit too far. I got to take a couple rows out and then start the toe. So that's what I did yesterday. Got that sock finished and everything. And now I've got a new sock ready to go for any movie knitting that comes up. I actually re-upped my AMC A-list membership, which is something that I had when I was in New York and I haven't had for the last year and a half. So basically, if you live near any AMC theaters and you have this A-list thing, you can go to up to 3 movies a week, which is a lot. I definitely don't do that, but it kind of works out that if you go to at least a handful of movies, you're getting a few for free. So I love that. And I have mine again, and I'm so excited to see movies again. Spinning. Okay, let's talk about a spinning update because I have been learning to spin. My spinning vlog just came out on Tuesday if you want to see like that entire process of me learning to spin. But I want to share with you my first yarn. So this is my first plied yarn with all of my practice. The white is actually what I spun and the purple is something that Brianna spun. So they are very different in thicknesses. One, because mine was very inconsistent throughout, and then also just because I'm a new spinner. So anyway, I'm pretty proud of this. I am going to be taking it off and making it into like a little hank. That should be in that spinning vlog video. We haven't finished filming it yet as of this date, but you'll know if I've made it by then. So that was number 1. And then I just started yesterday on my very first colorful dyed braid of yarn because I was only using undyed yarn at that point. So I am working off of this guy, which is Targi, I believe. Brianna dyed this, the little wolf knits. And I split it a couple of different ways because I am learning how color like works when you spin it. So I have split the whole braid in half. Actually, it wasn't a full braid, it was like a partial, but I split it in half and then I split one half in half again, which is what this is. And then this I split in half again. So this is like an 1/8, I guess, of the braid. And it looks so cool. I am much more consistent now. Sorry, this is really hard to see, but I'm much more consistent now. I'm also feeling much more comfortable. I'm enjoying it more. I can spin for longer. My stamina is better. It's not hurting my hands. So I'm having a great time. My hope is to spin through this today without splitting it, see how that affects the color. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one yet. I don't know if I can spin from this much thickness. I probably will still be splitting this one, but hopefully I can get all of this spun. And then I will be spinning this and plying those two together for my first like real yarn all on my own. And then my third step is to spin this, which is Rambouillet. This is also one of Brianna's fibers that she dyed. And this I will be doing all on my own because by that point I will no longer be here. So I am hoping that Brianna lets me buy this spinning wheel from her because I would like to take it with me. It's teeny and tiny and it's perfect, and I can take it in the van. It's battery powered, so I can charge it up. Actually, the battery has lasted like all week for spinning, and hasn't even gone down like a bar. So yeah, that's what I've been doing this week, which has been really, really fun. Definitely a huge highlight of the week. I don't really know yet where spinning is going to fit into my sort of daily and weekly routine of knitting, because it's not that I do the same exact things every day with knitting, but I sort of have like okay, in the morning, I read and I knit on my simplest project. And maybe at lunchtime, I have another break and work on a project. And then in the evening, I'm knitting. But when will I spin? Like, does spinning replace those knitting hours? I mean, obviously, I can't just like find more hours in the day, but like, at what point in the day will I spin? Will I be wanting to do it in the evening? I still don't know yet. I still don't know if I'm going to be a spinner through and through, or this is just something I do on occasion. And I don't really see knitting not being my main thing, but I am enjoying spinning right now. I think at least for the next couple of months, I'd like to try to spin at least a little bit every single day, just to keep advancing my skills, trying to get more consistent with my yarn. So that's kind of the plan for now. So expect to see a little bit of spinning every single week, hopefully, in the episodes. I'm excited for it. Next up for us, we are leaving here in just a couple of days. We're heading west, making our way to Ohio. We have a couple of things to do in Ohio that I'll talk about in the next section. We're also going to be exploring Western Pennsylvania, like a teeny bit. And then we'll be heading back to Nashville for a couple of days before we head to Florida for Thanksgiving. Coming up, let's see what we got. All kinds of things. Okay, so for our next yarn store tour, we are headed to the Yarn Maven in Delaware. This is exciting because Delaware is one of those states that has only 2 yarn stores, and the Yarn Maven is their only like full service, full yarn store. The other store has yarn and also needlepoint and some other things, but the Yarn Maven is like a huge yarn store. Like, they have a lot of stock. So I'm excited for you to see that, especially if you're in Delaware. It's a wonderful place. We got to hang out for their weekly stitch night. It was amazing. Sockmas is coming up. We are casting on for the Sockmas Make Along the day after American Thanksgiving, Friday, November 29th. It will go for 3 weeks through December 20th. I do have already open, and actually it kind of officially opens tomorrow, November 15th, but I am opening up a free Discord if you'd like to join and just talk with other knitters and crocheters, share your, what you're going to be working on, ask questions, just kind of a community space that's easy and fun and casual. All of Sockmas this year is extremely casual. We're not going to be fussy about if you're using fingering weight yarn or when you start exactly, because we're not doing prizes for things like that. We're just going to have fun. There may still be some prizes, but it's not going to be because you completed a pair of socks. It's just going to be because you're showing up and you're making socks. Somebody even asked me, can I make something other than socks? Sure. It doesn't really matter. We're just making festive, wintry things together. It's going to be very fun. So if you sign up, and I will put the link down below because I just created this, if you sign up, you will get a link to join the free Discord, and then you will also get the Zoom information at a later date for the cast-on party. So we're having, again, this is all free. We're going to have a Zoom cast-on party. I'm going to have at least one of the Coven Collective members, maybe more than one. They're the ones who created our sock set and bags for this year. So hopefully they'll be joining me. We're going to have fun. We're going to work on our socks together or cast them on. And this will be on Friday, November 29th in the evening. So I'm really excited for that. I'll put the link down below so you can explore that and find everything you need. I'm also planning to do a couple of Instagram lives, basically every Friday from November 29th till December 20th. I want to have something going on for Sockmas. So the first thing will be on Zoom, and then everything else will be on Instagram. Super easy, and I hope you come and join us. Now, the Love and Stitches membership, it opens on Tuesday, December 3rd. This term is going to be so much fun. Because I've had the time this week to get everything planned, I have a really good idea of our entire, actually 5 months that are going to be in this term, and it's going to be wonderful. So I actually added all that to my website this week. You can go and check it out. But the membership is jam-packed full of social events, book club, make-along, all kinds of things that are just super, super fun. You can find out the information down below. And if you're serious about joining, I would suggest you add your name and email to the waitlist because you'll get access just a little bit earlier than everybody else. And I'll also be sharing even more information. You'll get to join one of our, our preview Discord, all that kind of stuff. Okay, Vlogmas is coming up. Vlogmas will start posting on December 1st. I am very excited about that. I'm still toying with if I'm gonna post 7 days a week or 6 days a week, so stay tuned on that. We will be at 2 in-person events in the next month. Yarnbirds in Columbus, Ohio. We will be there on Friday, November 15th and Saturday, November 16th. So the Friday event is completely sold out. So there are no more tickets for that. However, I will be there on Saturday for most of the day. I have a couple of things I have to step away for, but most of the day I will be there on Saturday, and there will also be a Ruby and Rose's trunk show. So come out, get some yarn, we can chat, it'll be wonderful. And then the last thing I have planned for this year is in South Carolina at Copious Fibers in Irmo, South Carolina. We will be there on December 3rd from 5 to 8 for their fiber wind down. Okay, I have no new Yarny events to talk about this week, but if you do see anything coming up in December or the next year, feel free to email me and I will add it to my site. Okay, I think that's everything. You can't see, but I'm petting Toaster. I think that's everything for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!